Hi everyone, just bringing in the energies, waiting for people to hop on, and we'll just start. I'd like to give a little blessing and a little gratitude to my beautiful garden, producing so much food for me, and this passion fruit vine. Passion fruit's so rich in nutrients, it's so nutrient dense, so full of vitamins. Google it. You'll be surprised at how good it is for you. So I just want to give a thanks and gratitude to nature and what it provides for us before we start. You know, when we grow our own food, food, with the love and the care that we put into the soil, I use permaculture methods and syntropic methods and a lot of biodynamics, a lot of organic stuff goes into my garden. So when I'm tending that soil, when I'm working with the soil, when I'm, doing the layers in the garden and tending the garden, that love, that care that I give goes into the food. That frequency goes into the food. It becomes more nutritious, much tastier, and this is like God's nectar. When I open these fruit up, it's like God's nectar, honestly. It's so sweet, it's so divine, and I just get so blessed with every mouthful that I eat out of my garden. So if you're not growing your own foods, even just herbs, even just your own herbs, you can grow all of those in pots if you live in a unit. You do need good soil though for them to grow well. So it is all in the soil, and my soil is very live. So when you dig down, there's all sorts of microorganisms in the soil. There's mycelium, there's everything. So if I can encourage you to grow anything that you can eat, please do so, because it's going to be better for your body, it's better for your frequency, and it's just better for you all round, to be quite honest. Anyway, so we'll start with some light language, and we'll just see who comes along while we're doing that. Miyakate, miyakoyata tokoshetea, tiaro yama tokeshetea, tiaro yamatea, koyatea koshetea, oyakashe, yamoyakasheka yatea, yakoyate koyeshetea, tiaro yamateo koshekeyatea, tiaro yatea koyatea. Oyamateo koyamatea, uyatea koshekeyatea, eateo koyamatea koshekeyatea. I just feel so much peace flowing through me now. So may I share that peace with you. I hope you can feel that peace. So the download and what I've personally been working on in my own life. Hi, Michelle. I think that's you. How are you? So I've been working on boundaries, and Michelle knows this. We had a conversation about it. She's helping me with it, actually. So I've never been good with boundaries. So the universe has been kind and sent me lots of boundary busters to have a look at all of that. And I've been really triggered by clients in particular who ring me at 7 o'clock on a Saturday night while I'm out with friends having dinner, and then message me again Sunday morning because I didn't reply. So what I had to look at, good morning, how are you, beautiful? What I had to look at was how I've taught them to treat me that way, how I've taught them to expect that I would answer calls on a Saturday night while I'm with family or friends. And for some reason, even when they realize, I had a client come and she actually said, oh, I realised that someone must have talked to you. You're not answering the phone outside your business hours anymore. And that night at 7, she messaged me. So I can't do anything about them. I can only change me. That's where responsibility comes. So I can only change me. I can only continue to not answer the phone because I've taught them to be this way. They wouldn't message their doctor at 7 p.m. at night. They wouldn't message their physiotherapist at 7 p.m. at night on a Saturday night, but they message me. So I'm really working on that to change that. And what I realized after this conversation with the lady who realized that I'm putting in some boundaries and then messaged anyway and did it again yesterday is I can't change her. I can only change my response. So that's what came to me is like, why don't you talk about what you're working on and see what's happening out there in the world with boundaries? So just ask, basically, how's everyone going? Are you finding that Michelle, I know you're good with boundaries and you've been working on it for quite a while. So your guidance is very appreciated when you give it to me. Have you noticed that things are coming up for you within society, within your clients, within your business, within your personal life? I just feel like everyone I talk to is talking about this issue of there just doesn't seem to be any courtesy in the world anymore. No thoughtfulness of anyone else. Everyone, I don't know if it's everyone, I don't feel like I'm that self-centered. The reflection, I guess, is that how we care for us and how we put ourselves last in order to please others. I think that's what came up for me and that's what's coming. Definitely feeling that energy flow through now. So boundary busters are people who just disrespect your boundaries. Boundary busters are someone who will push and push and push for you to do something, be something, facilitate for them something that they wouldn't do for themselves, or that if you did it to them, they'd be highly offended. So, there's givers and takers in the world. So the takers are always going to, it's like polarity, right? The attraction of magnets or the disattraction, right? So takers tend to attract givers and givers tend to attract takers until one or the other party change or wake up. So in my world, what I'm working on is being, I wouldn't say less of a giver. What I'm working on is not casting my pearls to swine. It's a really old saying, and it's probably even before my generation. But what it means is don't give your treasure to those who don't appreciate it. So don't give your love, your kindness, your service to people who don't appreciate it. And what I'm learning is that it's okay for me to not answer the phone. So I had some guilt, that frequency of guilt running if I didn't answer the phone. And being a business owner and having established my business 4 years ago, when you're brand new, when I was brand new, I wanted to answer every call. I wanted to answer every text because I was trying to build a clientele. Now I'm in a situation where my business is 99% word of mouth. I don't really have to advertise. I do, just to keep the ticker going and just remind people I'm here, if that makes sense. Love that saying, casting pearls to swine. Yes, because how many of us give away the best part of ourselves to everybody else? And then we're empty in the tank. We leave nothing for ourselves. So for me, there was nothing. I had no social life because I had built this expectation with my clients that I would answer them at any time. So my mind was constantly not away from work. I had no perception of when I was working and when I was socializing. And I've had to change that. I'm the only one that can change that. And the great thing is, as I've been looking at that and as I've been actually putting in some action plans, like only answering the phone during business hours and text during business hours. If I had a landline, they couldn't contact me. That's a long time ago. That's showing my age. Because businesses used to just have landlines. and business hours. And so coming back to, if anyone else out there is struggling with people taking advantage of them, coming back to what I was saying about myself is we can only change ourselves. And then as we change ourselves, as our frequency and our vibration changes, we attract new people. Like I'm attracting clientele now who actually respect those boundaries. They book online. It's very easy to book online. They don't insist on texting back and forth because the day doesn't suit them, the time doesn't suit them. They just hop online, have a look, book the day and time that suits them. They're really easy and they're very prompt. They actually get back to me. These same clients I was talking about don't actually answer me when I answer them back. They do it when it's at their leisure. So there's some real, what it's showing to me, and these clients I've known for a long time. So obviously who I was when I first began the business and they first came to me is very different to who I am now, and the development I've gone through and the changes I've gone through. So as I've gone through those changes, I've attracted different styles of clients. And so I'm in that process of either retraining the ones that have been here for a long time that I've trained badly, that I've taught to abuse me, basically abuse my time and taken advantage of it and give me no time off. I've taught them all that. So I'm the only one that can change that. So I'm pulling back my pearls and I'm choosing who I share them with, if that makes sense. So the time that I have available, I'm very cautious now who I actually give it away to. I've done that on a personal level. That was really easy to do. On the business level, because in the back of your mind is, and being a people pleaser for so many years, decades, all my life, that runs in the background. That programming that we talk about a lot in the community is that programming that runs us. So in order to change the programming, energy drainers, I put my phone on silent and choose when I check it. Exactly, Kim. Yes, well said. That's exactly what I do now. And good on you, because you're just launching yourself into a new chapter. So that's really powerful to start that way. I didn't start that way. I'm just doing that now. So well done to you, Kim. And keep that going, because now I'm having to undo a lot of what I've done. So it may work, it may not work, and these clients may move on, and I'd be quite happy with that. So, so that was what I got. So then that leads us to standing in our power, which is where the download came for today's live, is how then do we, respect has fallen by the wayside, people seem more selfish these days, perhaps fear is their motivation. Yeah, maybe or FOMO, like the fear of missing out. I don't know what it is. It has definitely changed since I was younger. People had more consideration for each other, more consideration for people's time. I would never message someone on a Saturday night at 7 p.m, regardless of what I wanted. And I certainly wouldn't message them early on a Sunday morning either. I don't know what makes people think they can do that. So perhaps you're right, Michelle. Just the whole respect thing has fallen by the wayside, and the selfishness, and that really has to change, because the world and the chaos that we're living in and seeing is a reflection of all that selfishness. It's about powers that be wanting more power, right? So how then do we transmute that? How then do we as individuals change our frequency, change how we are? Exactly some of these things that have come up in the conversation, like Kim saying, well, she just keeps her phone on silent and chooses when she checks it. Well, that's good for mental health as well. So that's what I do. And how then do we transmute someone else's selfishness? So then the only thing that I feel that we can do, and yeah, all right, so the energy is behind it. So when we actually protect ourselves, and when we take these steps Kim's talking about to actually verbalize our boundaries, to actually take some steps outside of verbalization, like keeping the phone off, like not checking it, like not answering, like that sort of thing. You know, when someone pushes in line in a queue, to actually have the courage then to say, excuse me, I was before you, or excuse me, that lady was before you, or whatever. I do that just to make people aware. My son shared an instance with me. He's in service, and he literally had someone looking this way and saying, where is such and such, and where is such and such, and where is such and such? And he just said to them, oh, are you talking to me? And the lady said, oh, sorry, I should have been looking at you. So this isn't just my experience, which is why I asked the question. And Michelle's saying, yes, she's noticing too. And we had a conversation yesterday that we noticed that other people are finding it too, that people just don't seem to have presence. So I know a lot of people in service, and they literally say that people just walk up and ask them where something is, and it's literally there. So presence is another thing I find people struggling with, to be present with where they are and what they're doing. And I have a client who, I have tons of signage here. It's so easy to find. I even have people compliment me and say, oh my gosh, it was so easy to find you. I have a client who has gone to the neighbour with all of the signage that I have, all of the signage. This same client kept talking while another client was waiting to come in and needed to go to the toilet. And she just kept talking and talking and talking, just not present. There's another person here. I've used not just my hour that I booked, but an extra half hour on top, and I'm still staying an extra half hour again. So I had to actually speak into that. And so this is what we had a discussion about at breakfast yesterday, was people just don't seem to be present. So what do we do about it? So we have a choice. We stay silent and it continues, or we start to make them aware, like my son did with the lady in the service situation. He actually made her aware that she was speaking to the cabinet and not to him. So there's things like that that we can do. We can actually begin to make people aware. So now I make people aware that, you know, I'm very generous with time in a client appointment. But if you're eating into my time to have a drink and go to the ladies, awareness for sure. Yeah, I agree. It's about awareness and being conscious and being present. So I now speak up and I just say, excuse me, I have to visit the ladies' room now, because clients will just keep talking and it's not even relevant to their treatment. So that's my experience, my personal experience, and that's what I'm working on. So just encouraging everyone to think about ways that you might be getting triggered by others who aren't present or courteous to you or respectful to you. What are some of the ways that you could implement, perhaps, that, you know, start to, where you basically then teach people to treat you in a new way with a new level of respect? That's basically how I'm looking at it, and that's how the download came to me as well. Beck, you can't change them. You have to change you, and you have to respect you. Now, that's the big thing here for me, is I have to respect me enough to respect my time, to respect that I am generous to my clients with time, and that once they go over that generosity, that I'm the one that needs to make them aware. They are not present. So, you know, waiting for them to become aware just isn't going to work, which is weird because, you know, the access bars, which is one of the most popular treatments I have, is for more consciousness. For some people, it doesn't seem to be working. They don't seem to be present nor conscious. And perhaps that's because of years and years and years of them being that way. And it's going to take months and months and months to undo some of that programming. So like me with my programming, my people pleasing, coming through, my guilt coming through for not answering the phone, they have a program running that me first, me first, me first. I'm the only one that's important. I'm the only one that's important. I'm the only one that's important. So I feel we who are aware and conscious need to develop that compassion and that empathy and see that there's a program running them just as much as there's a program running us. And the two programs attract each other because we're working on our boundaries, we're working on self-respect, we're working on becoming different. And so we've invited these frequencies in, which are so feeding all of the dysfunction within us, to bring it into the light out of the darkness and say, here, have a look, have a look, have a look. Have a look at how you're getting triggered. Have a look at how this is making you feel and what can you do about it, because it's your responsibility. Does that make sense? That's what's happening for me anyway. So this is it. My quiet time is now all about, here, have a look at this, have a look at this, have a look at this. And so I'm the only one that can change it. When someone speaks disrespectfully to me, I'm the only one that can change it. When someone doesn't respect my time, I'm the only one that can change it. So for me, it's been a real process because I have been such a people pleaser and I have been brought up to be very polite. I'm the generation of children are seen and not heard. So sure does. Good on you, Becky. Thanks for the encouragement. So my programming was that you don't speak up, that the adults know everything around you and they're the only ones that are important. You're just here to be seen, that's it. You stay quiet, you don't say a word. So that programming is deep because it's been since my childhood. So I've had to really work to even have my voice heard. The fact that I'm doing lives and talking about the downloads that I'm getting, well, I hushed all that as a kid because I got told that the stuff I was sensing and seeing and feeling, I was making it up, that it wasn't real. So all the spirits I used to see as a kid, I was told they weren't real. And that was a lonely place to be as a kid because I had to shut all that off, and I shut it off for a long time. And now it's great to actually be able to work with all these gifts and all these talents and all these capacities and just be me. And I get paid for it. How's it get any better than that? It's taken a long time to undo that programming of staying quiet though. It's taken a long time to actually start to believe that what I see, what I feel, what I sense is real and true. It's real and true for me. So, right. So I would encourage you, I'm just bringing myself back now. The reason I feel these downloads come is because there's people that are being affected in a similar way. And the scenario might be a bit different, but people are being affected in a similar way. And where are the ways that, like I'm working on it, I'm bringing this stuff into the light. I'm looking at how I've taught people to treat me in the first place and how can I change it. So may I encourage you to have a look at the ways that you're being triggered and what's causing it and what can you do to actually change you so that your frequency raises, your vibration raises, and you either one, don't attract this stuff anymore. You've changed enough that this just doesn't happen and you attract new energy, new vibration. That's what I'm looking at. New clients, a new, totally new vibration in my clinic space where people respect my time, where people actually take the effort to find out when I'm working and when I'm not. So changing that takes a while. So then are there areas in your life where you can have a look and go, well, maybe I could change that, or I could say this, or I could put this in place, like Kim just doesn't answer the phone, keeps it on silent, and that sort of thing. So there's certain areas that we can actually take back. I don't like the word control, but it kind of is. We're taking control of how we perceive ourselves for a start. So we have to perceive ourselves as worthy, as our time being important, respecting ourselves, and that it has to come from the inside out is what I'm trying to say. So once we build that inside ourselves, once I started respecting my time, I was able to bring into the light and see very clearly that I had taught people not to respect my time because I didn't respect my time. I used to just give it all away freely. So that's exactly what I started doing. Was I started turning the phone off. And if you follow me, you know that Mondays I just don't touch any devices at all. That's my sanity day. That's my one and only day off. When I'm not doing admin, when I'm not doing follow-up, when I'm not doing business associated stuff. And then the encouragement I want to be is to have and try and have a look from a higher perspective. I always try and step out and have a look from a higher perspective at why someone else might be the way they are. So in these scenarios that I've shared, so coming into a place of valuing self. And once we value self, it's easier to value others, is where I'm going with all of this. So everything comes from the inside. Start off as you mean to go on. Yes, I love that saying. Start off as you mean to go on. So it's all about us respecting us and respecting our time and looking at all those areas that we can change, that's in our power to change. The way we speak or our actions, what we do. And they're all ladies, interestingly enough. These ladies just obviously just aren't aware that the way they treat me is affecting me in this way. So and they may never become aware, but that's not my responsibility. However, because they are a reflection of me and because they're helping me learn my lessons, I have deep compassion for them. And so I look beyond the behavior, if that makes sense. And I try is not a good word. I sit in the place of what would make them this way. Well, it must be their patterning and their programming. And, you know, they have people around them who basically bend over backwards for them and have done, because that's what they attract. And so as a therapist, they attracted me, because that's what I was doing for them. And so when we can have compassion for another, we can thank them, is where I'm going with this. We can actually thank them for the gift that they are in our lives. Like, I'm grateful because I'm actually looking at these points in my life, bringing them into the light, and I'm actually now able to take steps to heal them, if that makes sense. So I'm actually grateful that they are helping me on my healing journey. And so their patterns and their programs clashing with my patterns and my programs is eliciting change in me. Whether it elicits change in them or not is not my responsibility. My responsibility is to have compassion and be grateful for what they represent in my life, which are teachers. Teachers for where I'm out of balance, where I am giving away my power. Does that make sense? So, and really, the world and the separatism that we're seeing and the hunger for power, life lessons, not mistakes. Yes, everything's a lesson. Everything's an opportunity to learn and grow. And those things that keep presenting themselves and presenting themselves and presenting themselves will keep presenting themselves and presenting themselves and presenting themselves until we learn them. So I'm just in this attitude of gratitude this morning. One, for my passion fruit. So those who missed my beginning live, I just gave a thanks and a blessing and a gratefulness to my garden, because it's providing me with an abundance of food, and the passion fruit is like God's nectar. It's so sweet, it's so divine, and I've been trying to share it, and then I gobble a few before I share them. So sharing the abundance of nature with everyone, clients and friends alike. So where was I going? Yes, so having compassion for others and having that higher perspective. So we're all running patterns, we're all running programs. Some of them are serving us, they're good for us. Some of them are not. And then we're going to attract people to make us aware of these patterns and these programs that are not serving us. So if we can have compassion and gratitude for them and allow the patterns and programs to be brought into the light out of the darkness, we can actually heal them. And then when we heal ourselves, and like the ladies are saying, start it as you mean to go on, and life lessons, nothing's a mistake. Everything's a lesson. Oh, thank you, Michelle. Grateful for you too. Beautiful. Thank you. Everything's a lesson. Everything's an opportunity to learn, to grow, to evolve, because that's what we're here for. We're here for our soul's evolution. We're here for our soul's development. And as we develop our soul, and as we evolve, and as we transmute these energies that we're talking about, as we transmute and alchemize these triggers that I'm talking about in my personal life, then what happens is that we transmute the energy and the frequency. We raise our own frequency and vibration, and therefore we raise the frequency and vibration of the planet. As individuals raising our frequency and vibration, can you imagine 9 billion people raising their frequency and their vibration? What that would change. Instead of becoming the victims of scenarios and situations, to actually look at these opportunities and see them for what they are, which is opportunities to learn and grow and become a better version of ourselves, a stronger version of ourselves, a more compassionate and kinder version of ourselves, not just kindness to others, first kindness to self. So having that kindness, Kim was saying, of turning off the phone for yourself and not answering when it's, answering when it suits you, not when it suits the other person. And then also start as you mean to go on, Michelle was saying, so starting a new way of being in my life and with my business, and then going on that way and allowing those lessons Kim was talking about to keep coming and being in the attitude of gratitude for them, because that is growing me as a person, that is growing my business, that is growing and exponentializing my capacity to manage my time, which then transmutes and translates into a more powerful version of myself, a more centered, more grounded, balanced version of myself. And imagine what that version of myself can do with the time that I have, instead of giving it away, frivoling it away, casting pearls to swine, which is what I said before. So imagine if we can elicit all this change, and I'm sure that there's other stuff that's going on for people, that when we change and transmute this energy, we don't just change our lives, we become the teacher of everyone observing. So these clients that I'm talking about, I'm teaching them to respect. It may work, it may not work. Remember, they are getting lessons as well through me. And if they don't choose the lessons through me, don't choose to bring that into the light, how they disrespect people, into the light, the lessons will continue producing for them as well. They'll have other scenarios come up where people don't answer them because they're not being respectful. So that's not on me. What's on me is changing where I can change, changing my vibration, my frequency, not allowing myself to go into that guilt, which is a very low vibration, not allowing myself to go into the triggered annoyance of, why are they messaging me on a Saturday night? So instead laughing and just going, oh yeah, whatever, I'll answer it when I'm ready. It's a way better energy. So just to basically summarize and wrap up, is there anything anyone else would like to share? Is there anything that this is bringing up for you, maybe, or anything else you'd like to contribute? Some of these pearls and these gems, start as you mean to go on, that everything's a lesson, there are no mistakes, and that turning your phone on silent or turning it off and just picking it up when it suits you, answering it when it suits you, they're all gems in the scenario that I was talking about in a business where people just don't seem to respect business hours anymore. So summarizing is, we can only change ourselves. We can't change anyone else. Everyone has free will. We can look at everything as a lesson instead of a mistake, and then take that lesson and learn from it, grow from it, use it as an opportunity. Hi, Sonia. Totally resonates. Creating the stronger boundary to protect your energy is a must. Yes, absolutely. So, absolutely, well said. So, when we have stronger boundaries personally and we raise our vibration because we're no longer reacting to boundary busters. Instead, we understand we're in the seat of power, and when we give our power away, they are going to bust it anyway, and we're an invitation. We become an invitation then for them to continue their behavior. So when we work on ourselves and when we raise our frequency, raise our vibration, and we protect our boundaries, that translates, that frequency, that energy translates out into the world. So our heart is a big magnet. It sends vibration, right? It sends vibration. And we know, because we know when we come across people how we feel when we're around them. We know what their vibration is transmitting, right? So our vibration transmits in that way too. So if we're all caught up with boundary busters and we're all caught up in the negativity and the dense energy, then that's what we're transmitting. But if we stand in our power, which is where this download started, standing in our power, what if we were all standing in our power? What would the world look like? If we're standing in our power, what does that energy transmit? That transmits a frequency of respect. That transmits a frequency of I am sovereign. I know who I am. I know my worth, and nothing can change that about me. And so we attract then the equal frequency. We attract people that respect us. We attract people that respect our boundaries. We may get tested every now and then, but it's okay because we've built the skill set, haven't we? We've built the skill set of managing that and just going, yeah, it didn't get me because I know this. This is in the light now. It's no longer in the darkness. I'm no longer blaming others for how I feel when I'm triggered. Does that make sense? I probably finish it there. If anyone wants to add anything, I'll finish with some light language. Standing in your power, having boundaries, respecting yourself, respecting your time, choosing, yes, awesome, choosing your responses. Let's summarize it that way. We all have the opportunity to choose our responses and look at life, as Kim says, as it's all a lesson. Everything's a lesson. Everything's an opportunity to learn, to grow, to evolve. And the lessons will repeat themselves until we learn them. Thank you, Kim. Thanks for hopping on and joining us. I love this little community. It's so good. Energy doesn't lie, respect for self, and know your worth. I love that. That's a beautiful summary. So energy doesn't lie. So when you first meet someone, usually you're getting the essence of their energy. Trust it. Always trust it. And respect for self. So respecting yourself enough to say no, not feel guilty, to say no to boundary busters, to energy that's not right for you, and know your worth. So standing in your power, knowing your worth, and only giving what you're willing to give, being conscious of what you're actually giving, or choosing not to give as well, because we all have free will as well. So that's how we take back our power. That's how we stand in our power. And by us standing in our power, again, that frequency goes out and we become the way showers for other people to stand in their power. And eventually, when 9 billion people are standing in their power, we take back the power of everything. So then we then become the change that this world is looking for. And how do we do it? In our own little pockets, in our own little worlds. One step at a time, one lesson at a time. And so thank you so much all for joining me. Oh, what a beautiful, beautiful conversation. Thank you for the pearls of wisdom you've all shared. Definitely get this up on YouTube. It's precious. And so thank you so much. And we'll see you. I won't be here next Sunday. I'm running a class. So we'll see you the week after. And so it would be great to have you all join us again and bring what's going on for you. Let me know what's going on for you next week. I'll tune in, not next week, I beg your pardon, in a fortnight. And I'll see and tune in what the universe is trying to say through me. So we'll finish with some light language, and may it all bless you. And may it all take you into a beautiful Sunday, a relaxing Sunday, a joyous Sunday. Mayata. Kio koyamate o koshe kayate. Io yamata to koshe kayate oyatea. E koyatea mayatea koshe kayatea. Oyate ko kayamatea shema mayato ya. E koyate koshe kayamatea oyamatea. Oyato koshe kayate koyamate o koshe kayate a. Iro yamate koyamate a. Eo koyate koshe kayate a mayate a. Eo te koyate a. Aero yama mayatoya. Eo koyate a. Mio yamate a koshe kayate a. Ayatoya, yamatea, woyabatea, ekoyatea, yama, mioya. Thank you so much. Bless you all. Have a fantastic day. Oh, we are all mirrors of each other. Yes, we are, Sonia, the good and the bad. The light and the shadow. Let's say that. The light and the shadow. We're all mirrors. So thank you so much for being such beautiful mirrors for me today, ladies. I really appreciate and love you all. Have a beautiful Sunday. Bye. And I'll send us off with these beautiful tincture bells. Bye for now. Have a great day. Thanks, everyone.